Each year in the United States, thousands of major crimes go unsolved. When the case has gone cold and police have nowhere to turn, they seek assistance from the public. This is a program dedicated to solving these cases. This is Crime Stoppers Case Files.
Every year, crimes go unsolved here in Southern California. Loved ones are left waiting. I'm Joy Benedict. As a news reporter, I've covered countless crimes, countless homicides, and I know that sometimes victims of these crimes are forgotten almost as quickly as the headlines fade. So tonight on Crime Stoppers Case Files, we take another look at the crimes still lingering unsolved in our communities. Let's get right to work. The date is November 3rd, 2000. That's when 21-year-old Anthony Prudhomme is asleep. Someone kicks in his front door, shooting him, killing him in his own bed. Here is his story.
Anthony was so full of life when from the minute he was born, he came out crying and but a happy cry, it seemed like, a joyous cry. And he was a typical, what they say, typical boy, because very rambunctious and just full of life, just grabbed onto everything and touched everything growing up. You know how little boys run around, and he's just a really sweet child. I was only 19 when I had him, but so I had the energy to run after him, you know. He loved to make friends. He always made friends very easily because he just, number one, he's really outgoing and had a very sweet, caring personality, but also he was very handsome. He's good looking. He had a beautiful complexion, and as he got older, he said he had the best of both worlds. Being biracial, he felt he could become friends. He had friends of all nationalities and all ages, too. He had friends my age, you know, and older. It's amazing. We moved around a lot. I was in the military. We lived in Japan and Hawaii and the East Coast, and he went to many different schools, and he struggled a little bit, but he made friends quickly. He played basketball for a little while in high school because he was tall. He was actually 6'3". 155 pounds, so tall and thin. His passion was music, though. He learned how to play the piano, and he took piano in college, in junior college, and then he went to a LA recording workshop to become a producer. He had an ear for new talent. It's amazing because some of the music that he used to listen to that was underground is really popular now, so he could pick stuff out and he could create. He was very creative with music. And he has a younger brother who's 16 years younger than him. They were very, very close. You know, he's a big brother. You know, he took care of him. He'd pick him up for me after school and babysit him, and they were really close. I've learned a lot from him because he always said everything happens for a reason. And when it's your time, it's your time. He's very spiritual. You know, he said that he believed in God, and he said that this is all a part of the bigger picture. He told me, have faith in God and have faith in the bigger picture. There is a bigger picture. And I think we're all part of the bigger picture.
On November 3rd, 2000, officers from the Los Angeles Police Department's Northeast Division responded to a call of a possible robbery in progress at 6518 Aldama Street in the Highland Park community of Los Angeles. When the officers got there, they discovered that Anthony Prudhomme had been shot and killed while in his bed. It was approximately 2:10 in the morning. It was a quiet night in Highland Park. There were no witnesses up and around that were able to see what had occurred. Mr. Prudhomme's apartment is a basement conversion into an apartment. There's an exterior access directly to the basement. During their investigation, they were able to determine that two suspects walked down the walkway leading directly to the basement door. They did not enter the main residence. They kicked in the door leading directly to the basement, approached him as he laid in bed, and apparently we believe that there was a conversation between the two suspects and Mr. Prudhomme. The two suspects are believed to have asked for money or drugs from Mr. Prudhomme, and when he was unable to produce any, they shot him multiple times.
I was awoken to my husband on the phone. I heard him saying, "No, no, no." He said, "Anthony's been shot." My first thought was, who could have done it? They said that he didn't make it. And I was like, I don't know why I had known when he said he'd been shot. I didn't ask, is he okay? I just knew he was dead. I don't know why, I can't explain it. That's when I felt like I was outside of my body, looking down. Your soul or whatever, it's like too much pain to realize that this is true, that somebody that you love is no longer here, was just taken like that. And then you feel that pain is just really unbearable. It's the kind of pain you just want to, you crave death because you want to get out of here, you know?
I'm Los Angeles County Sheriff Lee Baca. The Los Angeles Sheriff's Department has partnered with the LAPD and other municipal police departments throughout our county to form the Los Angeles Regional Crime Stoppers organization. Crime Stoppers is an important law enforcement tool, a proactive approach to removing dangerous criminals from our streets. Each week on this television program, we will share the facts about unsolved cases, and you will have the opportunity to submit information that may help investigators without ever having to give your name. I encourage you to provide us any information you may have. I thank you for joining us and doing your part to make our community safer.
Welcome back. We now continue with the story of Anthony Prudhomme.
On November 3rd, 2000, 21-year-old Anthony Prudhomme was shot as he sat in his bed by two assailants who broke into his residence. In the time of November of 2000, Highland Park was a predominantly Hispanic community that had several Hispanic gangs that were very territorial with their turf and controlling the drug trade. At that time, there was also a beginning of an influx of African Americans moving into the Highland Park area, and ultimately this led to clashes between the Hispanic gangs and the African Americans that were moving in. And we had several incidents of racially motivated crimes involving the Hispanic gangs in Highland Park against African Americans who were moving into the neighborhoods.
It's a battle for sanity because murder is so insane. There's nothing that makes sense about somebody taking somebody else's life. Nothing. And so I had to gather all my strength to try to function as a human being again and be a mother and a wife and everything. And I felt at that moment, I felt like I couldn't be a good mother because grief overwhelms you and it's just, you kind of go into yourself, you know, and I realized how selfish grief could be. I went to counselors, I went to support groups, I was in crisis, I went to everything I could and called the detectives every day. I wanted justice, you know, I craved it. You know, they can't share a lot of information, but as time went on, I got a little bit more out of the detectives, and I knew it was definitely strangers. It wasn't people that knew my son. It was gang members who, I realized there are people that kill for nothing, to earn stripes or whatever. You know, that's the motive.
As a result of the investigation, one suspect, Porfirio Avila, was identified, prosecuted, and is serving time for this case. However, we know from the evidence that was collected that there was a second suspect at the location. We're asking for the public's assistance in identifying that second suspect and bringing him to justice. We believe it's a male Hispanic from one of the local gangs in the Highland Park community, and we are certain that there are individuals in the community that have information that would aid us in identifying and arresting the second suspect.
I know that there are a lot of law-abiding citizens that unfortunately may have a family member or may know some people that are doing some horrible stuff. When those horrible things that they're doing is on their soul, they're going to have to deal with it eventually, what they've done, because the truth always comes out eventually. But those law-abiding citizens, those people that have a conscience, that know something, they should come forward and do the right thing and do what is truthful and do what is just. I went to different parts of the country and I met many different families going through the same struggles, you know, wanting justice for their loved ones. And I heard about Crime Stoppers from one of the mothers I met. And when I found out about it, I was like, why don't we have that in LA? So I started doing investigation, and so I've been trying to get one out here since 2005. I'm one of the founding board members, so I'm a board member, and I'm so excited that LAPD and Sheriff are working together on one united tip line. It's baby steps, but it's been worth every step of the way.
Investigators already made one arrest in this case. The getaway driver in Anthony's murder is serving life right now, but the man who pulled the trigger is still on the street. So help us bring this murderer to justice. You may be saving someone else's life. Coming up, the story of a teenager found dead on the side of the highway. We'll introduce you to Winnie. On May 16, 2010, Winnie Hereford was found dead, naked, lying on the shoulder of the 105. Here's her story.
She loved school, she loved people. Her teachers called her a social butterfly all through school. She always received Peacemaker Awards in school. She was in the debate team. She always wanted to help people. She always defended people, and she's a little fighter, feisty, but it was always to help the underdog. She wanted to be a lawyer. She actually wanted to be a defense attorney. Then she kind of wavered back and forth, but she knew she wanted to go into law. She had a big heart, always smiled. She loved her siblings. They were very close growing up. Her and her siblings were like glue. We all went to the same church. She helped in the church. She was a servant. She loved children. She always changed clothes. She would change clothes 2 and 3 times a day, if not more. She wanted to model when America's Next Top Model came out. She wasn't quite old enough yet. She was 17. I was like, when do you have to wait until after you're 18? But she wanted to model, and she wanted to make her mark. She wanted to travel and do things. When she turned 18, we found out that they were having auditions in Bakersfield. So we rushed the family to get her photos together, and we drove to Bakersfield right after work. And she did her audition, and she wasn't selected, and nothing really ever happened. One PR person said that she had a different look. She had like a European look about herself. She had a chiseled face, good structure. And it just didn't go. But she still wanted to do modeling. She loved people. She trusted people because of the way they were brought up. My children were brought up in the church, and I didn't have to worry about them, being around people at church. They trusted them. We'd have special events, and they would be doing their things. They would hang out with the youth and have their friends, and I didn't have to worry about them. It's like you trust. She thought that no one would hurt her.
Hi, it's dispatch. How are you? Good. Good. We are out eastbound 105 east of Garfield. Looks like we've got a female juvenile anywhere from 14 to 18 years of age, and she's been pronounced dead. She was found face down on the right shoulder. It's probably more than definitely a crime scene.
Okay.
It looks like the body was dumped there.
You said it's 105 in Garfield?
Correct.
On May 16, 2010, Sunday, at sometime before 5:40 a.m., we were called out to the eastbound 105 freeway in the city of Paramount. There was a female whose body was discovered on the shoulder lane of the freeway. The female was totally nude, and at the time we didn't know who she was.
Now at 6, LA sheriffs need your help solving a murder mystery. Who's that young woman whose nude body was dumped along the 105 freeway? Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Serene Branson.
Hello, everyone. I'm Juan Fernandez. Our top story here at 6. It was a disturbing discovery, and all detectives have to go on right now are a tattoo and some body piercings. The discovery was made by a driver along the 105 freeway between Paramount Boulevard and Garfield Avenue. CBS 2's Soraya Fidel live now on scene with the search for the woman's identity. Soraya?
And Juan, we are overlooking what was once the crime scene. It cleared just about a couple hours ago here along the 710 and 105 freeways. In this area, motorists were able to drive by and see the body. It was bumper to bumper for hours. All of the lanes are now moving. But this evening, authorities are turning to the public to help identify this woman.
We did our crime scene. Eventually, through fingerprints, we were later able to identify her. Our victim was 19-year-old Edwinta Hereford. She lived in the San Diego area and recently in the Inland Empire area. She was temporarily living in the area of South Central Los Angeles.
I got a phone call from my mom. My mom tells me that they found Winnie dead. I stood on the corner. I called my pastor. And I did the only thing that I knew to do was to pray.
Again, lead detectives do tell us that they do believe there were not any obvious signs of gunshot wounds, but do say there were numerous abrasions all over the victim's body. They tell me that this evening. In the meantime, an autopsy is underway to determine how this woman died.
The suspect of the vehicle that Edwinta was in drove her down the 105 freeway. She was killed sometime while in that vehicle, we believe, and was tossed out of this vehicle onto the freeway naked. The injuries found on the victim's body led us to believe that the car did not come to a complete stop.
The body of a young, petite, light-skinned woman was found dead at the shoulder of the eastbound 105 freeway between Garfield Avenue and Paramount Boulevard. A Good Samaritan driving by noticed the body just before sunrise. He pulled over and called 911. LA County Sheriff's homicide investigators say the victim was discovered with no clothes. How she died is still a mystery.
Our victim was 19-year-old Edwinta Hereford. She was temporarily living in the area of South Central Los Angeles. She moved there with a boyfriend, and they dated for a short time. She moved out and had nowhere to go. She had no job. The day of the murder, we learned that she was at Snappy's liquor store, which is located on Imperial Highway and Normandy Avenue in the South Los Angeles area. We did obtain video, and she was there, and she attempted to purchase an item with her EBT card, and she was not allowed to use that card for the item she was trying to purchase. She then left the location, and we received some information where she met an individual at a Tam's restaurant, which is located in the South Los Angeles area, I believe on Figueroa Street. We were given information that he did meet with her and then dropped her off. He did take her to a location and then dropped her back off at that location. We believe that she met someone that night, and she got in the vehicle and was driven down the 105 freeway, where sometime during that time she was killed and thrown out onto the freeway. We don't know how many individuals were in the vehicle, possibly one, possibly two or more, we're not sure yet.
How do you wrap your brain around the fact that your child is gone and you don't know why your child is gone? She loved people, she trusted people. It's a trust factor. You went from trusting people to how can I trust you? You have a mask on to make people think that you're okay, but you're really truly not, because your child is gone. My daughter was 19 years old. If they did it to her, they're gonna do it again if they haven't already. I beg of you to make that phone call to help bring justice for our daughter.
You just heard Winnie's family describe her as trusting, but trust should not have cost her her life. So if you have any information that could help solve this case, call LA Regional Crime Stoppers. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's edition of Crime Stoppers Case Files. Remember, we are here every week with more crimes and more families needing answers. These are your neighbors. This is your community, and you can make a difference.